So we're going to get some writing in today, hopefully. That is the goal. We're also going to charge my watch so it can tell me every day that I don't get nearly enough steps. I shave my head. So, and we might have some special guests on today. I'm going to drink some coffee today. It's President's Day, so if you are a president, this is your day. Otherwise, I don't know what's going on. It's dreary. It's 59 degrees out. Cloudy. This is like the high for today, so it's just going to go downhill from here. So I'm not leaving the house. No, it's gross out there. This is a day where you lay around and you read a book. I should have just been like, you know what? No writing today. I'm going to read a book. I didn't do that though. So hopefully people will pop in. We can all hang out, have a conversation, talk together. I have a couple of donuts to eat. So a lot going on. Way more than you know. I'm on Twitch and YouTube live today. So if you are on either of those platforms, if you're on both of those platforms, hit the subscribe button. I really, really greatly appreciate it. I really do. Let me get some writing in until I see somebody jump in. Hopefully we can have some conversations today. If nobody pops in, nobody pops in. I get a lot of writing in. Although it'd be weird if like my wife and the dog show up and then there's nobody to talk to. Okay. I'm eating a donut. This is a Entenmann's chocolate, but it's not just a chocolate donut. This is an Entenmann's Devil's Food Cake, which is delicious. Look at the inside of that. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. That might be my favorite donut of all time. All the times. If I could go back in time, if I was a time traveler, the first thing I would look up is not. Let me figure out when I can go back and put in $5 on like IBM or something. No, I'll be like, when was this donut created? I don't want to go any further back in time than before this is available. And I bet like $100 is with like $2. And then come back to 2026 and then eat them. And like $200 is probably take me about a week. Then I go back. All right. What's up, Chad? Good morning to you. It's 11:57 here, so it's still morning for me. Lorraine says, "Hi there, just sitting with my husband at my son's dentist, waiting for his anesthesia to wear off. How's your day so far?" Better than anybody who's had anything at the dentist, I assure you. I've had a good morning. I slept in a little bit. My wife and the dog are actually still sleeping. Alice, she had a bad night last night. She was up and down. So my wife was up and down with her. I think she got some tummy issues. And since she can't control her bowels, the dog, not my wife, it's basically it's like the dog knows something's wrong, but can't do anything about it, which is sad. Chess is trying to figure out some people with reviewing platforms I can send Evanwood to, and I'm drawing a blank because every reviewer I know covers horror. Yeah, that's the problem. I realized doing these monthly, January, February, basically the books I'm going to read this month thing. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I actually think I'm going to post a video at the end of the month saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just reading what I want to read. Because I've gotten in a couple of books that I actually want to read, but I'm like, no, I said I was going to read these 4 books. And I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm just going to read whatever I want to read. Like Lou Reed. I'm like, oh, I got another donut. Oh no, this is the second donut. I've already eaten 2 donuts. Man, these are so good. Who is this? Oh, they kept going. Chet says, spent the last few days continuing to try and find places taking short stories, but those lit fic places aren't paying. One even said, we no longer offer contributed copies because of cost. Wow. He says, what do you mean holiday writing? I don't work for the government. I get today off if I want. It's President's Day. So if you are a president, have a good day. Oh, we got people. Oh, so the car did stop, but parked down a ways. And now the mother and daughter are out looking at my little free libraries. So she opened it for a second, the daughter closed it, and then now they're walking back to their car. Okay. Just the highest pay I've seen is around $20. Yeah, but you know what though? If you sell 1,000 stories at $20 each, that's like $180, I think. Well worth it. Yeah, short story places aren't paying out like they. I was gonna say like they used to, like they never did. I enjoy writing them. I enjoy putting them out there. I look at short stories as a business card that hopefully it's tied into something I've written, a series or whatever, and then people will go, "Oh, let me learn more about this character or whatever." But yeah, you're not making a living. Chad says, if I whipped out 1,000 stories, I'd probably be proud of 10 of them. You know what? And those are the 10 that wouldn't sell. And the 10 that you thought were the worst stories you wrote, those are the ones that would sell. Always happens. I've had some stories in the last couple of years, and I'm like, I'm going to send it anyway. I don't think this is a great story. I'm like, it's cliche. I know you know where this is going, and it goes to exactly that place. And they're like, we loved it. Didn't see that ending coming. I'm like, all right. Chet says, probably. Yeah. Or you've written a great story and you sent it in. They're like, yeah, we just accepted something close to this. So, no thanks. Or they were like, this guy, ugh, no way. We're putting his stuff out. The chair squeaks a lot. I just realized. Now I just realized. That half an hour ago, I went in and took a shower, being as quiet as possible. We come out, and my wife, the dog, woke up, laying on the bed, looked up at me, and then my wife woke up, and she's like, "What time is it?" I'm like, "It's 11:30." She's like, I'll be up in a couple minutes. I've had a long night with the dog. I'm like, "It's your day off. Just there's nothing you have to do today. Remember that." We were going to take the bench little free library, the kids one, and we were going to clean it out. The goal was my wife was going to go to Lowe's or Home Depot or something and get a sealant, a wood sealant, and some new paint and like sandpaper. And we were going to take the little free library, unchain it, and we were going to bring it into the backyard onto the deck, and we were going to clean it up, get all the old paint off of it, and get some caulk or something, fill in all the cracks because the wood on top is splitting, and then every now and then some jerk kid climbs on it and jumps up and down on it while the parents don't do anything. So there's, the cracks aren't deep enough that they go through and you're going to it's going to leak or anything. That would be bad. But we want to keep it from that. So we're going to clean it up, make it nice and pretty, repaint it, different color and whatnot, and then let it sit. But the problem is it's 59 degrees out and it's only going to get colder today. And it's cloudy. It's not supposed to rain at all, but it just looks gross out. I don't want to do that. So she's supposed to get up in the morning and go and do all that. So she obviously did not do all that, which is fine. And honestly, it's like one of her only real days off. So go sit on the couch and watch some Lifetime movies or something. You know what I'm saying? I got work to do. I got to sit here and talk to Chad Lutsky about short stories. Chad says, I spent last night looking for online book clubs to join. Never been in one. Trying to find one that does literary classics. Got any suggestions? No, I don't do any of that. I don't like people. Which might be a bad thing. I don't know. Or could be a good thing. I'm not really big on the classics. The ones I've read, and like I'm not gonna go. When I'm not gonna go back in and read stuff. Every now and then somebody be like, "Oh, you got to read. Can't believe you haven't read The Great Gatsby since 1985." And I'm like, I don't even know why I had to read it then. Yeah, it was all right. Not something like, "Oh, this is the greatest book ever." Everybody should read 1984. Why? We read it already. We read all of those books. I want to see, there was somebody on last week that said they were going to see Wuthering Heights with their wife on Valentine's Day. They did not want to see that, but she wanted to. We did not go to the movies on Saturday to see Crime 101. Just like, I just not, I didn't bring it up. Lorraine says, I'm finishing up my own mini book club, but it's a Southern Gothic fiction series. And then she apologized and says sorry. Chad says, I haven't read any classics except Old Man and the Sea and some Tolkien stuff. Chad says, oh, and Catcher in the Rye, which I hated. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I had to read all that stuff in high school. And I just was not impressed with most of it. Yeah, Chad loves some Southern Gothic. So, Lorraine, if you're finishing up your own book, if you're doing something else, let Chad know. In fact, let me know too if you're going to do another book. I'd be interested in that too. Then we could all do a book club video. Chad says, I read more Southern Gothic, grit lit, rural noir than I do horror or thrillers. It's some thriller author, I don't even know who they are, had sent me a message. Hey, can you, my book's coming out. I'm trying to get an agent. It would really help if I got some blurbs for it. Not not interested. I don't know who you are. And of course, you've written a 150,000 word horror book because I'm going to guess you threw everything in the kitchen sink into your first book. At some point, somebody should have said to you, "Yeah, you don't need to write that many words. You probably got 3 books there." Or it says, I'm doing mainstream titles for the sake of my channel's views, but I'd love to branch into something more literary. I love the Reformatory. I have not read the Reformatory. I think I actually have a print copy on my nightstand, buried with the other 30 billion books. So many good books to read. Is that the book by Tangerine something or other? Yeah, Tangerine something or other. You call her Mrs. something or other. Lorraine says the book I'm currently writing is Southern Gothic with a slight horror element. Hey, check out it close. Tangerine something or other. If I have another daughter or another son, I'm naming them Tangerine. So many books, so little time, Chad. Exactly. Chad says, I've seen Miss Dew's book all over the place. Lorraine says, so true. I don't understand people who read like the same books several times. That's just not for me. I'm like, or watch the same shows. Like, I think I've mentioned this before. Her best friend and her husband, they're like, oh, new season of Reacher's coming. So then they binge watch all the previous seasons. They did that with Stranger Things. They do that with and I'm like, why? Especially Reacher. It's a different book. It's a different plot. You don't need to know or remember. Like, what did you forget? That's why they do like that thing in the first 2 minutes of the season of here's all the things you need to know that are important for this next season. Like there's a billion things to watch and to read out there that you're never going to have time for. So why are you wasting it watching stuff you've watched 100 times? Now that being said, like if I'm just there's nothing on and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, Jaws is on. I don't care what part this is. I'm watching Jaws. Oh, Dodgeball's on. I don't care what part it is. Like, the day after tomorrow for me, Reign of Fire, the Blues Brothers. These are movies I'm just going to watch no matter where they are because it's just. But I'm not going to go. Oh, you know what? I want to watch a movie today. Let me put on Jaws. Chad says, I know someone who reads it like every year. I could barely get through it the first time. Yeah, obviously, I've never read that. Red says, so true to so many books, my fingers aren't fast enough to keep up. Yeah. Key says, if Goonies comes on, I'm sitting my butt down and watching. So here's a funny little fact about me. I've never seen Goonies. Never. My wife loves that movie. We watched Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates about maybe a month ago, an episode, and they're in Oregon, and it's the real life what the Goonies was, the myth, the history of what it was based on. And he's doing all these Goonie references, and she's laughing, and I don't even know what she taught, and she's like, "Don't you get it?" And I said, "No, I've never seen Goonies." She's like, "What?" So that's like a movie that we have to see. Although, in all fairness, she never saw growing up. She never saw Princess Bride, so we had to watch that. Yeah, I know, Keith. Right? Is that nuts? Hey, hang gang. Oh, Frank Edler in the house. Frank says there are a lot of movies you haven't seen that you should. You know what? That is 100%, 100% right. Chad says, I've never seen Goonies either. Haven't seen Princess Bride either. I should either win an award or have tomatoes thrown at me, or a tomato award that they throw the award at you. Lion's Pride is over on Twitch. Looks like he's the only one over there. These ads, make sure you hit the subscribe or resubscribe button. Chad says, what up, Exploding Edler? Frank says, Princess Bride for Goonies is a good trade, right? Key says, inconceivable. Lion's Pride is back. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Most of us are, just so you know, Shizu, Kitsuno, whatever. Most everybody is over on the YouTube live page because I'm doing both. Every Monday I'm going to do YouTube and Twitch, but that'll be it. Chess says, I may read Princess Bride before I ever watch it because I am a William Goldman fan. Yeah, Tom Duffy gave me a William Goldman book. It's not that. It's another one. But it's just in the pile at this point. Frank says, I was on Twitch for like 6 seconds before I was like, what am I doing? He's going to yell at me about lost watch hours on YouTube. Exactly. Can I have a link? My old YouTube is getting retired. No, the issue with shocking content stays. If you just go on YouTube and you just look for Armand's Opinion, ARMAND, my name right there on the bottom, Armand's Opinion, you'll find it. Chad says, little trivia, Metallica's Sad But True is about Goldman's book Magic. The movie stars Anthony Hopkins and an ugly ventriloquist dummy. All right. By that time, by Sad But True, I was not really into Metallica. Chess is great movie and book. That's a rarity these days. You know what I'm saying? Chess says, yeah, count me out for the Black Album. I'm going to tell you why I initially did not like the Black Album. I think I was still in high school. And that came out, and they were going to do the listening parties. Remember, they did listening parties, and it was Madison Square Garden. You had to get tickets. It was like free tickets, but it was like a lottery thing. And every jock in my high school was going. And they were playing, all of a sudden they started playing Metallica in the locker room before games kind of thing. And I'm like, you guys would beat the crap out of all of us every chance you got because, oh, the burnouts, all the metalheads, blah, blah, blah. Oh, let me spit on your battle jacket, that kind of crap. And now all of a sudden, you're a Metallica fan because you heard Enter Sandman. Frank says, pretty sure Chad is making up fun facts about Metallica. He don't even know who Metallica is. Lorraine says, big fan of Anthony Hopkins. I mean, how can you not be a fan of Anthony Hopkins? Oh, I made it over. This is Shizu from Twitch, formerly, or I guess still Lions Pride. I don't know what you're doing over there, Matthew. I'm going to call you Matthew. Chad says, fun fact, one of the guys from Megadeth used to drink a Metallica. Now, we know that's not true. You're making stuff up. Lorraine says, but I don't want to see a ventriloquist dummy. No. Yeah, those are creepy. I remember probably more than one episode of The Twilight Zone with the ventriloquist dummy. That freaked me out as a kid. Also, the little robot toy one trying to kill that kid. Matt says, I miss chatting with you. I still enjoy the podcast we did. I enjoyed it as well. So what are you doing? You're like transitioning to something different now? Yeah, everybody's doing a President's Day sale. All my books, 99 cents, President's Day. When I think of buying books, I think, you know what? It's the President's Day. It's a holiday. Let me buy a horror book. Frank says Mondo and Bot. I talked to him before Christmas, I think. All right, maybe before Thanksgiving or something. He just every now and then every 6 months he just calls out of nowhere and he tells me all the new things he's doing, and I'm like, that doesn't sound legit. You know, he's like, I got on LinkedIn and I started sending messages to everybody who worked for Disney and everybody who worked for, Pixar and on and on and on. And I got a lot of great feedback about my dragon whatever thing, and I'm like, all right. That says, I'm busy with a new book, A Bigger Studio. I'm still Lions Pride, but my Twitch is now gaming only, mostly virtual reality, and I'm losing animation, whatever that is. Man, I can't see today. Chad said, I tried for a long time to get Armand to do a metal podcast with me and John Bowden, but he wouldn't. That's not true. I am not putting it together. I would love to do that because me and John would probably gang up on you about a lot of bands. Is he still scheming to take over the world? Yes, very much so. He still thinks his cartoon stuff is going to make him billions and billions of dollars at some point in his life. I mean, he's not a bad cartoonist. He's not great either. I mean, and I'm sure now with AI, most of these companies are like, yeah, we're just going to do this, I don't know, for free. Yeah, we just really don't care about your stuff. Which is sad. I think one of them basically said, yeah, if this is a real person, you have to get all kinds of signed legal documentation and blah 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 to use the name and the likeness and on and on and on. He's like, so I mean, if I can sell this, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not signing anything. Yeah, here's what I do know. I'm not interested in that. Chad says, I always thought the metal podcast with the three of us would be the perfect dynamic because we all love metal but don't like the same bands. Exactly. That I think would be pretty cool. Dep DDH says hello on Twitch. How's it going? I would do it. Listen, I would do it, but I'm just gonna be honest with you. I would do it if I just showed up and you said, here's the night we're gonna record this, and here's the band or the album we're gonna talk about. And I'd be like, I'm in. Frank says, I'm going to DM him about how much I miss Mondo and Bot and how brilliant it was. He's sure to bring it back. He had a ton of them. He had drawn up a ton of them. And I don't think all of them actually got put up. Talent. Yeah. Mr. Frank, you're right. He just was, he was a nice guy. It just, there was like one point where he was like literally calling me like every 2-3 days with this great new idea. Oh, this person just set me up. No, that's not real. And that was before all this. I'm sure I can guarantee he's fallen for one of these AI schemes. Frank says he sucked me into writing his dragon cartoon. I want to choke him. Yeah. He also had my daughter voice one of the characters, or she was gonna voice one of the characters, and he was gonna he gave her all these like scripts and stuff, and she's like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I don't know why we're doing this. Apparently, this book. Apparently, it's written by a dude. It's an LGBTQ plus romance called "Owned by Ice." It's a male hockey dark billionaire crime romance, part of the Ice Cage trilogy. Apparently, it looks like it's selling like hotcakes. I don't know why I get these emails about that. Why would I? I'm not interested in that at all. I don't want to read that. I'm just not a fan of reading romance. Chad says, and that leaves me to be in charge because John has the computer savviness of a grapefruit. You start it, I'll create the logo and show up, and we'll all push our books. Yeah, I'm in. You just tell me to show up. Frank said he told me how great I was and how he loved everything I wrote. So I wrote some dialogue for him, and he never liked anything I wrote. That sounds about right. He's like, hey, you want to write some of this stuff? I'm like, no. I got my own writing I'm trying to make money on. And you know, this is not going to make me money. Like a famous singer once said, when asked, don't you want to make money? He said, no, I don't want to make you money. Who are we talking about? Chad wants to know. It's some guy who did cartoons in years ago, still around. It's a really long story. He's a nice guy. He's an older guy. He's probably in his mid to late 60s at this point. He's in Kansas City. And he just jumps at everything in front of him like this is going to be, everybody's going to love his stuff, blah, 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 blah. Matt says, I've got 16 books planned and I'm only on book 1. Get to writing. Good luck with it, though, man. You know what I'm saying? One book at a time, one word at a time. Frank says, we're going to make millions if only I could write one agreeable line of comic genius for a comic strip that's not supposed to be funny. Yeah. So really, if you really think about it, if as you're all my witnesses, Frank's really the one that's the reason I'm not a millionaire now. Thanks, Frank. Matt says, I'm working on it today. Good luck. Keep it going. I'm only 62,000 words in. You know, another 1,000 words, and I'm done with a crime thriller. I'm probably going to go a little over an hour. I don't know. I'm going to guess at this point, my wife and Alice will not be joining because I believe she went back to sleep. But you know what? Good for her. It's literally like her only real day off. So you might as well enjoy it. Nope, 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 nope. As I'll email you about what's all happened. I'm just going to lurk and get to writing. Okay, good luck. Hopefully you get some words in. I should be writing too, but I wrote a little bit this morning. I'm like 3 or 4 days ahead on my Excel spreadsheet so that I know I can take days off. So if I can get, I've already written like 500 words today or something. So it's not bad. Just need to write a few more words. And we got to get some reading in. That Tim Wagner book, the Conan one, is actually getting really good. I'm about halfway through it. It was good. Like it was good because I'm like, oh, I'm a Conan fan. And I remember growing up reading Conan fans that are mentioning all these places and races and magic and all this other stuff. But now I'm like, oh, this is actually a really good story. Key says I managed 1,000 this morning. Very good. Very good. I missed a word. So it's kind of good to read some stuff. It is now 60 degrees out. Jumped up. Chaz says, man, if I had 16 books planned, I'd feel too overwhelmed to not even finish the first one. That's why you take it. Like my board is not as crazy as it used to be, but like I have 2 6-book series on the bottom of this dry erase board. And I'm like, you know what? Someday I'll get to those, but I don't want to commit to those. I also look at it and I go, you know what? I should just write the first one and use those to also try to get an agent. I'm just done with the self-publishing thing. I say that, and I got like, I don't know, 5 or 6 books. Like I'm literally releasing more books in the next year and a half, self-published, than most writers are putting out. Charlie in the house. He says, I was finally able to get back to writing yesterday. I've had so much editing to do the last couple of weeks, I haven't managed more than a paragraph or two of new writing. Yeah, I can do editing and writing in the same day, but not like one after the other. Like if I know I got to edit something, like one of the books I'm getting back, I should hopefully get back in the next couple of days from the last beta reader. I don't know, what is it? Yeah, so it's the next book that me and Tom are doing. The third book in that, whatever, one of the books me and Tom are doing, and then also Permafrost, which is the sequel to my Dying Day zombie series, but with no zombies. So once I get those back, then I know I got to edit. But I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll either edit in the morning or I'm going to edit later in the afternoon. Or I'll just say, you know what? I'm only editing today. That'll be one of my built-in days because I got ahead. But I can't like, oh, I'm going to write for a little bit and then I'm going to go and edit. It's like two very different things for me. Frank says, I'm the most unpublished writer of all time. Perhaps. Chad says, dude, you write enough to take one or two of your books to throw out there for the agent hunt and just keep self-publishing in the meantime with the rest. I'm not making any money with the self-publishing. I feel like I've hit a ceiling. And listen, I know I'm complaining and I make more money than most writers are making on this stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. Even on my bad months. The problem is I just don't see the investment on those worth it at this point. I have a backlist of 225 books, which is still making me money. I look at it like the Gene Simmons. I'm like the Gene Simmons of writing without the tongue. I'm like, you know what? Nobody wants to read the new stuff. They're all still buying the old stuff. So I'm still going to make money off of that and not have to do anything. Lorraine says, my writing is on hold until I format the one that's coming out in May. Frank says, how I convince publishers to never publish anything I write. Lorraine says, it shouldn't take more than a couple of days, but it's been stressful around here. Well, that's not good, but maybe if you hopefully you get time to dive in and do the edits, and then you can get out of your head about life and anything else going on, you know. Yeah, ROI, Frank, return on investment. Frank says, no hip hop in your books. Oh, and who knows? Like a year from now, 2 years from now, I'll be like, yeah, I'm back into self publishing because it magically turned around that I'm making money again. Chad asks, how often do you write, Frank? Yeah, put him on the hot seat. Frank says every weekday morning. He also, so on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. or ish, Peter Marsh jumps on his StreamYard and he invites me and Frank to go and sit and write. And a lot of times we just talk for like an hour or so. But then all of a sudden we get to a point where like 45 minutes of talking and Frank is quiet and you just see his fingers. I'm like, and then Peter's like, are you writing, Frank? And he's like, yeah. So then we're like, all right, let's all shut up and let's get some writing in. So that's always fun. So I got a lot of writing done Sunday because then I also did a 2.5 hour yesterday on YouTube Live as well. Ches, I still think you should rebrand Dirty Deeds. I think sales would go up significantly. Again, that's a lot of work, and that's looking back. And you're probably right. I'm going to give you that. But I feel like that ship has already sailed. Plus, I'm still making money with it. I'm not doing what I want to do with it, but compared to everybody, I'm still doing very well with that series. And I'm doing really well with the audiobooks now all of a sudden this month. Yesterday, I was like, oh, my Amazon sales are crap. And then all of a sudden, somebody bought all 6 print books of the Down and Dirty series. All 6 books. I'm like, well, that's 30 something bucks in my pocket. Well, that was a nice one. I'm actually selling right now. Let me look. Let me look at the updated on my dashing board. 45% of my sales this month are paperback. 40% are subscriptions, which is Kindle Unlimited, and only 15% are actual ebook sales, which is insane. How many print books have I sold? Does it tell you? What am I doing? I'm looking at the wrong tool. I never really used this thing. Why can't I figure this out? I don't know. It's a lot of books, though. It's way more than I normally sell. Frank says, occasionally I write on Sundays while Peter, Marsh, and Armand babble senselessly about the good old days. Yeah, pretty much. Frank said, we told the same story from two different points of view. Mm-hmm. Lorraine says, when I get back into the swing of things, I'm going to try balance writing two at once because you inspired me, Armand. A book for different writing moods. You know what? Let me know how that works. Frank says Tool, then he says Schism, which I think are really both great, awful bands from the 90s. I don't know. Oh, here it is. I found it. So I've sold 22 print books this month so far. That's a little bit more than one a day. Normally I sell like, I don't know, 15 a month if I'm lucky, probably one every 2 days. So I'll take it. Hopefully people are buying some more print books. What's all the noise here? Oh, it's Neil. Neil out there yelling at people, trying to get by in there with their lives. Nice. Miss Frank sells two a year. You sell 2 copies of Exploding Bears or one copy and then one of the other ones? Because that's really that's the question. What 2 books are you selling in a year? On the Zon, anyway. You do a lot of, you still do a lot of in-person book signings, which from what I can tell is a lot of hit or miss. You just don't know, but that's why you get out there and do it. And it's like, what else are you going to do on a Saturday? You get to hang out with Tim Meyer, JC, a bunch of other random people. Lorraine says, is that sarcasm, Frank? Frank says, mostly Catcoin. I think Catcoin went down, though, now. Do they even still have Catcoin? Is that still a thing? Lorraine is very troubled, Frank. She wants to know. Chad says, book sales have gone up slightly this year after falling way back in the last year. Chad says, Tim has a new one coming out. My sales have, since about halfway through last year, have really gone down. And that's why I'm like, you know what? I know I need to get an agent and blah, blah, blah. But now it's like that I wish I had been more serious over like the last 6 months about this. But I'm not rushing it. I can't rush it. So normally I don't write that Southern Gothic noir thriller when I'm on here because I want to be able to completely focus on it, take my time with it. So it sounds like my wife and the dog are up. She took the dog into the backyard, probably get her diaper changed. Maybe they'll be in, maybe they won't. Frank says, I'm nothing if not serious. Yeah, I mean, when I'm thinking of serious people, I always think of Frank. Lorraine says, if that's true, maybe I should sell my books alongside the girls at the Girl Scout cookie table. You know what? Do some kind of deal. Buy a book and two Girl Scout cookies and get a free box of Girl Scout cookies. Chess says, I made sales every day for years. Then last year I would go days without any sales. Luckily, I'm not in that position, but I've had days where I've gotten like a handful of page reads and one sale. If I'm like, oh, good, I made $2 today. My goal is always, if I can make, and I make more than this, but my goal was always when I first started keeping track in 2013. My wife's like, I need $300 a month from you towards bills. That's it. So I'm like, if I make $10 a day on Amazon, there's my $300. So that was always the bar, which I would blow past within easily within a couple of days every month. And now it's like, all right, so I'm making like $25, $30 a day sometimes, not really. I would easily break $1,000 a month. And this is just Amazon money. This isn't all the royalties from publishing and other places. I'm just talking Amazon. And then that $1,000 is becoming a stretch now. Frank says, looked it up. I sold a total of 4 paperbacks on Amazon in 2022. See? Twice what you thought. I say good for you. I said good day, sir. Here's what I'm really hoping today. I'm really hoping my wife is like, let's go clean the garage again. That kind of stuff. I kind of want to do any of this. I sold more paperbacks yesterday than you've sold in a year. I have all the windows closed. And Neil's voice is so deep. That's the neighbor across the street. He looks like the comedian Sinbad. I don't know who he's talking to, but he is just so friggin' loud. Frank says 2 cat coins, 1 uncomfortable shorts, and 1 exploding bear. So cat coin does lead in your sales. Chaz says it's about staying relevant, Frank. When I quit in 2024, my sales dropped because I wasn't putting the usual 2 or 3 books out. We need those books to stay afloat. Yeah. And isn't the goal always just to have a deeper backlist that one book is gonna hit, and then everybody's gonna go, what else does this person have? And then just read all of those. Chaz says Cat Coin sequel, Cat Coin 2, Electric Boogaloo. Frank, it's been a long time since my last new release. Yeah, you haven't had a release in a while. I'm going to own my numbers. Do book series actually outperform standalones in the long run? I think it depends on the genre. So for horror, no. And this is just for me. Sequels for horror, if I've done like trilogies, they sell okay. But for the crime thrillers, for thrillers, definitely you need a series. So that's I always look at. You know what? All right. It used to be where you would do I would do rapid release. So I would do like 3 books in like every 4 weeks or whatever. And then the last couple years that's kind of died. So all right. That's probably all for
Covered in cat hair.
covered in cat hair.
Well, that's why we put it there.
Not covered in cat coin though.
No, wouldn't that be something? Then I could retire.
Yeah, if you this in cat coin, a lot of money. All right, she's here.
Hello, everyone. I'm here.
Sarah's here, and Shelly's also here.
Alice is here. Maisie is here.
Apparently, there's
Maisie is here.
Maisie as well. I thought Mary was in the window, but I guess she left.
Oh, you got your cat shirt on. No, Mary's sitting in my
seat on
the
my
couch.
Cat father shirt on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got the cat
yeah.
there.
So yeah, so I'm getting some words in. Chad says, afternoon, sleepyhead.
I know. I was supposed to be up earlier, but Alice had a rough night, so I had a rough night. So I didn't get a whole lot of sleep until this morning.
Yeah.
But it's my day off, so I'm allowed to sleep in.
Exactly.
So there you go.
I don't know what time it was last night, but I was like half awake because I had to go to the bathroom. And so I was kind of like fighting to go back to sleep. And all of a sudden, the dog sat up and then she started doing that really low growl.
Yeah, see, the dog wasn't even in the bed at that point in time, so I don't know where you were. It was 4:30 in the morning because you woke me up
Oh, was it?
saying that the dog barked, but I didn't hear a thing.
Yeah, the dog barked.
Which she never does.
She growled and she never barked. So I'm like, there's somebody outside. I'm gonna go throw some karate chops and hurt somebody.
Which then you got up, which caused the dog to get up from wherever she was. Both the cats got up and came in the room. Everybody's like, what happened? Everybody was sleeping, and he woke the whole house up saying he heard somebody bark. Which again, Alice, I don't know, has barked like 10 times in her whole life. So I'm not really sure.
You know, it could have been in my half asleep.
I think it was.
The dog maybe made a noise, and I'm like, oh.
That's what I think, because you were like, Shelly, and I'm like, what? I'm like, great, I was asleep for a whole like hour.
Or maybe we're getting robbed. Maybe it's like one of those bad horror movies. Guys in potato sack masks are going to come in.
Well, there you go.
So everybody says, Keith says, hi, Shelly.
Hello.
Frank says, Shelly.
Yay, Mr. Frank.
Keith says, first or second pee, inquiring minds. And it was actually the first. Last night was a good one. It was my first pee. Normally it's like 3. If I drink anything after 10 o'clock at night and I go to bed at like 11 and by like 12 I'm out. And if it's anything, if I drink a drop of water or anything, it's like 10:01, I'm going 3-4 times. Chad says Armin got up early to sit by the window and people watch.
Ugh, always. He's very nosy.
Yeah, Lorraine says dreaming. Well, I am nosy because Neil is over there yelling at and I'm like, all the windows are closed. Why am I hearing you? T Zebra says coffee and a cigar before bed. Coffee doesn't put me to sleep. I can have a cup of coffee right before bed and I'm still going to sleep. I haven't had a cigar in about 30 years. And I was never a huge fan of it anyway. I smoke cigars because the guys that I manage the band, they all smoked cigars. One of them, the bass player, he smoked cigarettes still too. So he would inhale. He would smoke the cigars and inhale those giant. I forget what the names of them are. Something with an M. Cigars. And I was like, "That's crazy. You're gonna have lung cancer and die."
Well, that's mean.
You know what? He had lung cancer and he died.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. I mean, he could be dead. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in
nothing you say is
20
true.
something.
Everything you say is a lie.
Everything is a lie.
Everything.
And that's why I'm such a good writer. Frank sold two copies, of print copies of Cat Coin last year.
Nice, Frank. Nice.
Yeah.
Maisie, I can't hold you like this. Stop it. Animals are insane.
Yeah.
My lap is only so big, and she's fighting.
Frank says cigars are the worst. Frank, you strike me as somebody back in the day with your mullet who used to smoke cigarettes. You and Mr.
I
Jeff.
can't see Frank smoking at all.
No, I know Chuck smoked.
Yeah, that I can see. I can't see Frank smoking at all.
Chad asks, has Shelly picked up the new Wargasm yet?
Not yet, but it's on my list.
It's on her list.
No, I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Lorraine says, so I see the dynamic. Shelly keeps you honest. I mean, as honest as she can keep me.
For someone who lies about everything, I do my best.
Yeah.
My job is to constantly stand near him, so when he's telling people stuff and they're looking at him in disbelief, I'm like this.
But that's what my mother did all those years with my dad. My dad would lie about everything just to tell a story.
When we went and got engagement pictures done, he kept telling the photographer all these ridiculous stories, and she kept believing him. And he's like, oh, I grew up on a horse farm. And she's like, really? And I'm like, no. And then he was like, oh, I don't know what you said. I used to be a firefighter. She's like, really? I'm like, no. Only about 2 hours into it. I said, everything he says is a lie. Don't believe anything. But
what was the funny part then?
And then he finally says something about being a writer. And she's like, yeah, right. And I said, no, actually, that one is the truth. He finally didn't believe something. And that's the one he told the truth on. But yeah, I couldn't believe how many you told. And every single time, I'm like, usually people catch on after the 3rd or 4th time when you're like, nah, I'm just kidding. I was like, everything you told her, you must have told her 20-something different things, and every single one she believed.
Like we would be walking down, we took our engagement pictures in St. Augustine. So we're like walking down one of the side, roads, cobblestone, and there's like the horses go by. I'm like, oh, I grew up on a horse farm. She's like, oh, you did? And then she's like, no, you didn't.
But that was also a photographer who looked at the two of us and was like, can you just kind of like, what was it? Flounce around. So that way there's movement in your skirt and you're doing this and this. And I said, yeah, I don't know how to do
we're not
that.
flouncers.
It's not something I'm going to be able to do for you.
Frank smoked for 15 years.
No, he didn't.
And he quit in 2007.
I don't believe it. I think Frank's pulling a you and lying to me.
No, I think Frank did. Frank, you can look at because his face is so weird and chalky. That's from all that smoke.
No, I don't believe it. I can't see Frank as a smoker.
No.
I don't believe it, Frank. Just let me live in my life.
Peter Marsh vapes. I gotta have to make
Ew.
sure it said him. There's no vaping in our house.
No, that's an absolute no. That's dumb.
That's not gonna happen.
And I don't like it. Our son does that. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I think our daughter does too, but she lies about it.
Yeah, her boyfriend definitely does, which means she probably does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she does too, but she's a little better at hiding that. Jamie, he don't hide anything. He's just like, this is me. This is what I do.
Chad says, I smoked for years, then quit for a decade. Then while writing Skullface Boy, I started again because Skullface Boy started. I thought I'd quit after the book was finished. I smoked for 3 more years. So you're going to blame Skullface Boy. All the problems that guy had, having a skull face, and you're going to blame him for you smoking.
It's an excellent book.
It is an
excellent book. Not the smoking. That's no.
The smoking part, no.
Excellent book.
Skullface Boy, yeah. Here's another person, Chad, who wants you to keep writing books.
Oh, I love all Chad's books. I don't know. I say all of them. All the ones I've read, which I've read quite a few.
Right.
But I enjoy them. There's always such a deeply like personal note that you can relate to.
Yeah.
Or something so heartfelt in them.
Mike O'Connell in the house. He says nicotine is a monster, and Chad says I was method writing. So don't write a book about, I don't know, heroin, suicide, or anything like that. Then
please don't.
Please don't do anything of that. Please don't write anything about the band Accused or Wargasm. We got like 10 people on right now. Nice.
Woohoo. Say hi.
I was gonna look at the thing, but I can't because I'm on both. I'm on Twitch and YouTube Live. But I appreciate everybody being on YouTube Live.
Okay.
But I can't see what it doesn't let you see what the numbers are. Nick Zinn in the house. Wow. Nick says, hello, President Shelly and VP Armand. That's pretty much. Chet says, already wrote about heroin in Wallflower. When did you kick your heroin habit then? T Zebra says, prefer YouTube to Twitch. Yeah, I'm only doing Twitch on Mondays. Which is today. And that's to keep the Twitch thing going. Frank says, I only smoked because I looked so cool doing it.
No.
That's what most smokers think.
Mr. Frank is such an expert drinker, though. He doesn't also need smoking.
Yeah, can you imagine all of his vices? Like, oh my goodness, that must have been some party night. 2007.
I always remember when we had the book signing, JC's first book signing, and Mr. Frank, as typical when we were at a book signing at a brewery, drank it quite excessively. And then he about fell down laughing so hard when that bird pooped on him, on himself. And he laughed harder than anyone and just about fell on the ground and had the best laugh and just laughed.
I forgot about that.
It was funny, but his reaction was hilarious. And I always think how funny that night was. I think that's the most I've ever seen him laugh.
There's like 50 of us in a courtyard.
Yep.
And Frank's the one that the bird poops on.
Yep.
That was great.
Macy, stop.
Chad says, never did heroin, just wrote about it, and we all looked cool doing it, Frank. I guess that's what all smokers believed.
That's what they believe.
Do they also think now that most of them have turned to vaping, do they think that looks cool? Because that does not. Frank says, I barely drink anymore. No need for White Claws this year. Wow, good. Because, we still, I think up until about a month ago, we still had the White Claws from a year and a half ago.
No, from my birthday.
From your birthday.
This is like 6 months. But
6 months in there.
I don't drink at all. You rarely drink. So anything we brought home that was not just liquor, sat in the fridge. I finally tried to give most of it away and did, but we still have a few things that we had to just get rid of.
So here's why I love the professor, Chad Lutsky. This is what everybody needs to do. He says, I'm overdosing on Armand over here. Got the live stream going on YouTube and Twitch and have the playlist going with the sound off. That's the way to do it. I appreciate that. I've had some good numbers the last
to be honest with you, triple view might be a bit much for anyone.
Yeah. I mean, don't really watch all of it. I mean, just have them running.
Yeah, have them running, but good Lord.
But don't be
watching. Try to watch it all at one time. That's too much for anyone. And more than a mere mortal could take.
Lorraine says 1 fruity cocktail a year over here. That's about what I do too.
Yeah.
We have so much alcohol in this house. She doesn't drink at all. Mm-hmm. And I went through a period where I was drinking occasionally, but then we were just, again, we're both collectors is the problem. And we were just collecting all kinds of cool stories. I would say, hey, I need another bottle of rum. And we would go and she'd spend like $200 because she would look at, this is a cool bottle. Yeah. So now we have like 100 bottles of alcohol that probably haven't been opened since your birthday. And I didn't drink a lot of it then.
Yeah, that bartender made out at that party.
Yeah. Yeah, the bartender ended up taking a bunch of bottles, brand new bottles with him.
Not that I meant to send those with him, but
no.
All right.
Chad says, I'm in recovery, so no drinking for me. Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I need like Nick Zinn to be here for MondoCon and drink like a bottle of whiskey or something is what I need.
He likes the what's Glenlivet? Scotch or something?
Yeah.
That's what Nick likes.
Yeah, whatever it is, Nick, when you're here. I want you to get here on Thursday and just guzzle a bottle.
I have to learn what everybody likes for when they're here.
Yeah. We'll get to that. We got a next month. I'll be the next email for all that crap.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to leave you.
El Scorpio Mezcal. Yeah. That's a little bit too much for me.
What is it?
El Scorpio Mezcal.
Oh.
What are you doing?
I got things to do.
All right.
My day off today, but I got things to do.
You gonna carry the dog around? Is that what you're doing today?
No, she follows me when I'm walking. I don't have to carry her. She follows me.
Nick can do scotch or whiskey. All right, we got both.
Last 10 chapters of a book I'm trying to finish for someone.
Yeah, you need to read the book.
My beta reading job, I got to finish.
Joe McLeod told me something that is very heartbreaking.
What?
The countdown show that we're watching.
Which countdown? Uh-huh.
One season, they didn't renew it.
Oh.
And she said it ends.
I don't know if I'd say heartbreaking because you really had me concerned there. So
yeah,
maybe don't use those terms about a TV show. Like it. I just think something was wrong with her.
It ends on a cliffhanger, and then they canceled it.
I thought it got renewed.
She said they canceled it.
Oh. Well, I still want to watch it. Now it'll be hard for me to get you to put it on. I can't tell you how many series I have the last season to watch. Because once he finds out it gets canceled, he never wants to watch the last season. So we have like 4 shows where we have 1 season left. I'm just going to watch.
Need I remind you of the greatest show that only had 1 season, John Doe.
Don't even.
With Dominic Purcell.
So I haven't seen the last season of Vikings, of Shameless, of oh crap, what was the another one I just had on my mind that we have another season of?
Let's watch them all this week.
I don't know. We have a couple of series that we got down to the last season, and then you heard they got canceled, and now I'm like, why don't we watch that? And you're like, no.
Chad Lutsky has never seen Princess Bride or Goonies.
Chad Lutsky, I'm gonna need you to correct that, especially Goonies. Princess Bride, I didn't see for a long time. I saw with him after we got together because he couldn't believe I hadn't seen it, and it was funny. But the Goonies, did you not grow up in America? What's wrong with you?
He didn't grow up in America. He grew up in another country.
That would make more sense.
Chad says you can't vape in the house, but you can drink a 5th and puke on the couch next to the cat. Yeah, the cat puked on the couch last night. It's disgusting. Zebra says, has a scorpion in the bottle, whether it's happy or mad. Meh. Nick says, actually, I'll only drink Pappy Van Winkle because I'm classy. You already had some of that. You ain't
I'm
getting.
Gonna be honest with you. When you say Nick Zen, you know what's the first word that pops into mind?
Classy.
Classy.
Yeah. Old Mike says, I'm not in recovery. I'm just old. It'll probably be physical therapy again. Frank says, mezcal is my secret chili ingredient. Keith says no. Firefly best one season hands down. I never saw that.
Me neither. I heard a lot about it.
Chad says Firefly had 3, I think.
Yeah, it had a couple of seasons, but I know everybody was upset when it
Nice
got
try,
canceled.
Keith. I'm telling you, John Doe
No.
was the greatest show ever, and then they did one season, and it ends on a huge cliffhanger, and they never brought it back.
20 years later, he won't shut up about
or more. 20 years or more.
won't shut up about it.
I loved it.
I know. I've been hearing about it since the day we met.
Keith says liars, and he did it in all caps. Because Keith was caught in a lie, and now he's trying to double down on calling you a liar.
Calm down.
I don't know what's going on.
All right, you guys do your writing. I got to go do some reading.
Yep.
And then I got to go to the store so we can work on the little free library today. We got to fix it.
Hey, there's Tish dropping in for a bit. Tish trying to get that number 1 spot from Frank again. Keith says 1 season. I don't know. I never saw it. I don't care to see it. Here's the problem. 60 degrees out right now. This is the high for the day.
Okay.
It's supposed to get very cold later.
Okay.
So you got to figure out, are we going to do that? And will we be able to paint it and coat it and everything?
Well, we can't do the whole thing in one day.
It's that cold.
We can't do the whole thing, but we can start on it. All right, Alice, tell everyone goodbye. It's time for us to go. We have work to do.
Michael says Easy Streets didn't even make it 1 season, but it was great. I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
T-Zebra says, all I know is Frank has me thinking about ghost chilies and mezcal. Keith says, and a movie's ready. Keith is going to die on this hill. Tish says hi to your wife, and she's waving.
Hello.
Tish is the one that kept crushing Frank yesterday, making random comments just to
stay number 1.
To stay number 1, yeah.
Mr. Frank, you'll always be number 1 to me.
The Glades was a great show that got canceled on an extreme cliffhanger.
Didn't we watch that?
I don't know. We didn't. That was an older show, but I remember watching like the first couple of episodes of that, then never watching it again. Terriers is another 1 season cliffhanger that was canceled. Nick says, wait, what's the temp there? Because it'll be 62 here. Yeah, it's 60 right now, and this is the high for today. It's nicer in Milwaukee.
Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, not nicer weather-wise. That's about it. We got Michael O'Connell here in Jacksonville, so that bar is set pretty damn high. It's good to have everybody on. The guy who did Breaking Bad made a show called Battle Creek that only had 1 season. As a Battle Creekian, I was bummed. Is that what you call yourselves, a Battle Creekian? All right, we're going to look this up. Great shows with only 1 season. Here's one from Entertainment Weekly. They're legit. 35 1-season TV wonders. You ready? Is everybody ready? I guess they do them in order. Number 1, My So-Called Life. Number 2, Firefly. Number 3, Kindred. Number 4, Luck. No, we don't. I just use. Okay, so that sounds good. Keith's ready. Freaks and Geeks. Love that show. And I saw that like in my late 20s. Frank, I love Lucy. Getting it wrong again. Can we go back to Firefly? Huzzah. Sinbad, Frank says. Containment was on the CW. Enlisted, which is on Fox. Gordita Chronicles, which is on Max. Undeclared, which is on Fox, which is the spinoff of Freaks and Geeks, basically. Harper's Island from CBS. Pitch, which is on Fox. That looked awful. The Ben Stiller Show, which is on Fox. The Prisoner, which is on ITV. Prophet, which is on Fox. Reboot, which is on Hulu. Wonder Falls, which is on Fox. The Secret Circle on the CW. Terriers. Oh, Donald Logue. Okay. I love Donald Logue. I love him in the he was in that show for a few years, the comedy. And his wife in that is my favorite TV wife of all time. Chunky blonde. What?
Grounded for Life.
Grounded for Life. Thank you. Love that show. Frank says Friends. Close. They had more than one season, I think. Chet says, dang, you're right. Only one season for Firefly. Lorraine says, hi, Titch. Lorraine says, I just subscribed to your channel yesterday. Chad says, remember Square Pegs? I think that only had one season. Well, we're going to find out. Nick wants to know, where's Manimal? Chad remembers Manimal. Lorraine says, I couldn't get into Firefly. Chad says, Man from Atlantis. So everybody's throwing it. The Dana Carvey show on ABC. Selfie on ABC. Jack and Bobby on the WB. A lot of these are on the WB. Life on Mars from ABC. Rubicon from AMC. Awake from NBC. I Am Not Okay With This on Netflix. Life as We Know It from ABC. Sweet/Vicious from MTV. Robbery Homicide Division, CBS. Trophy Wife on ABC. The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. on Fox. I remember there was a commercials for that every 5 seconds. That was the Bruce Campbell thing, right? Yep. The Society on Netflix. Relativity on ABC. Constantine on NBC. The Tomorrow People on the CW, and Crashing on Netflix. Those are the best. Men in Tights. Lorraine had totally forgotten about Manimal. Lorraine says, creepy, can't be good. Nick says, Manimal lives on in my heart. Cop Rock, yeah, remember that. Pushing Daisies. Now let's see if this list has anything different. Oh, there's just a bunch of people just thrown in there. Man from Atlantis is a surreal dream to me since I can't remember much about it. I don't even remember that off the top of my head. So this is another list of 33. I'll just read the ones that we haven't hit yet. Clerks, the animated series. Stumptown. Fastlane. Devs. Swamp Thing. The Night of. High Fidelity. Station 11. Brand New Cherry Flavor. Looking for Alaska. I don't know any of these. Almost Human. Journeyman. Mayor of Easttown. Black Sash. No Tomorrow. Terra Nova. I remember that when that came out. That was supposed to be a huge, huge thing. I remember the thousands of commercials for that one. Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. The Queen's Gambit. Maid. Watchmen. Kings. My So-Called Life. I May Destroy You. Chernobyl. Midnight Mass. The number one on this list, Firefly. Waterfront on Netflix was really good, and they can't. Yeah, that was really good. We were very excited to see a second season. It didn't happen. Nick says, I love Misfits of Science as a kid. Michael says Napoleon Dynamite, the animated series. I don't think that's ever going to be on a list of good shows that. Chad says Planet of the Apes had a series that was awesome, ended way too soon. These are all newer shows that got on season. We want retro, nothing before 2005. Chad says, I remember Terra Nova, cool concept. Yeah, I never watched it. I don't know why, because I remember seeing the commercials and being like, oh, that's pretty cool. What's with the list you're reading? I only recognize about 4. Yeah, most of these I don't even recognize. Supposedly those are the greatest shows ever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, or no. So here's another list. We're just going to read these. All American Girl. Archive 81. Boots. Bunheads. The Finder. Gross Point. John from Cincinnati. Lovecraft Country, which I thought was the book I thought was phenomenal, and I thought the TV show was awful. It's like they took some parts from the book and then they made this into this. I don't know what the heck they made that into. The #1 Ladies Detective Agency. Now Apocalypse. These are all like newer. It's the same from the other list. All 2019. The Unusuals. I don't know. So a lot of shows. Mayor of Easttown was a limited series. It was good. Michael says, I say Get a Life, but that may be 2 seasons. Nick says, Chad says, I just watched Get a Life last night. Hadn't seen it since it first came out. That has to be the worst show ever created. Wow, is it bad? Frank says, Coach. He says, Chernobyl was a miniseries designed for 1 season. Lorraine says, I watched Terra Nova, but I didn't like the acting. Frank says, Aftermath. Keith says, Chernobyl was hard to watch. Michael also says, Terra Nova was a cool concept. Lorraine says, greatest shoes, not for Gen Xers. Oh, greatest shows or shoes. Nick says, I remember Entertainment Weekly had a list of the greatest comedy movie ever years ago. Voters chose American Pie. And never again would I trust her list. Really? Lorraine says, Mercy These Fingers. Frank says, Celebrity Room. Lorraine says, I need giant keys. Am I right? Yeah, we want ones from the 70s and 80s. So I don't know. Every list I'm seeing from the 1970s. I'm just going to punch it in and see what they give me. Short-lived TV shows from the 70s, 80s. The Amazing Spider-Man cartoon. Ace Crawford Private Eye. That was 5 episodes in 83. Alien Nation. AES Hudson Street. Alvin Purple. Amanda's. Anna and the King. Arcade. Assignment Vienna. There's a billion of them. Beyond Westworld. 5 episodes. Frank says, greatest comedy movie ever. What about Bob? Michael says, Lorraine, I said Men in Tights. Or was that When Things Were Rotten? The Brady Brides only went 7 episodes. The Brady Bunch Variety Hour, 9 episodes. Chopper One. Like most of these I've never even heard. I mean, I'm not reading. There's like thousands of them. Remember Delta House? Remember they did Delta House in 79? 13 episodes. Dirty Dancing went 11 episodes. Ooh. Excuse me. Michael says, definitely When Things Were Rotten. Chet says, Grady, the Sanford spinoff. Nick says, Love Boat, which went about 1,000 seasons. Yeah, don't put that song in my head either. Chad used to love Love Boat, then fantasized about Fantasy Island. Fast Times, remember they did Fast Times in 86? It went 7 episodes. Just funny, some of these just basically went. Back when it was like 22 episode seasons or 12 episode, they'd buy like 12 episodes for a season. And a lot of these were never even released. There's so many. I don't know what any of these are. The Lazarus Syndrome, 6 episodes. Logan's Run. Remember they did Logan's Run, 14 episodes. I remember I was very excited. 77, 78. Yeah, I was 7, 8 years old. I was very excited when that came out. Nick says, Hee Haw, greatest show ever. Caesar says, Mel Brooks was hilarious. Chad said, I had no idea they did a Fast Time show. Now you better go and watch it. Sure, it was awesome. Frank says, yo, I haven't watched Love Boat. I wonder if Pluto dropped the channel. Bosom Buddies. That went a few seasons. Hee Haw, greatest comedy ever. T Zebra needs to stop. Can't remember how many seasons of Buck Rogers. That went several seasons. I think several. Somebody else got to have to look that up. I'm still trying to figure out. Manimal, 8 episodes. A suave and elegant university professor who can shapeshift into any animal, fights crime along with a female New York detective and his right-hand man. 1983, 8 episodes. Lancelot link up there. What's up, Buck? Manimal only needed 8 to get it done. 9 would have been too much. I guess so. Misfits of Science, 16 episodes, 85, 86. The adventures of a team of misfit superheroes who fight crime for a scientific think tank. That was really that was the pitch. Monster Squad, remember Monster Squad in 76, 13 episodes? When trouble arises, 3 monster wax figures come to life to battle evil. Frank says cocaine is a hell of a drug. T.Z. says, I'm old enough to remember listening to late night radio shows. The New Monkeys, remember the New Monkeys from 87, 13 episodes? 14 boys share a giant house and aspirations of pop stardom. Nick says, "Oh, that Monster Squad is on Amazon. It's awful, and I can't stop watching it." Wolfman Jack on the AM broadcasting out of Mexico. Wolfman Jack. You remember Roomies from 87? 8 episodes. Burt Young and Corey Haim were in that. A 42-year-old Marine sergeant and a 14-year-old fish-obsessed genius strike a perfect and reciprocal balance as college freshman roommates. It's amazing that only went 8 episodes. Chad, I agree. We do need more Wolfman Jack. Michael says, CBS Mystery Theater and Coast to Coast with Art Bell. Fireside Theater. Apparently they had a Serpico TV show, went 16 episodes in 76, 77. Richard Roundtree starred in Shaft, the TV show from 73 to 74, 7 episodes. Slap Maxwell. Remember that? 87, 88. 22 episodes. Dabney Coleman. And then he was in that other in Buffalo, something or other. He played a jerk. Remember Starman? Robert Hayes. 86, 87, 22 episodes. An alien returns to Earth years after an earlier visit to reunite with his Earth son, and together they search for the alien's human wife. Beretta. Chet says, sounds like back in the day they were always trying to make a TV series out of successful movies and failed every time. Yeah, every time. So Frank, what was his cockatoo bird's name? Nick says, I'd say Sledgehammer, but that's got a second season, even though the world blew up at the end of season 1. I mean, you can still do a second season. You don't really need a world to do that, do you? 88, 89, 15 episodes of Nick and Hillary, starring Nick Zinn and Hillary Clinton. That I would have seen. Remember 10 Speed and Brown Shoe? 1980. 14 episodes. V, remember V? 19 episodes. Resistance fighters battle the aliens who control Earth. 84, 85. Yeah, I was like 14, 15 years old. I love that show. Sledgehammer was priceless. Police Squad. Typo. Sunny. Nick says, Police Squad, nice call. Police Squad, 82, 6 episodes. Planet of the Apes, 1974, 14 episodes. Classic. What else we got here? Come on, give me something good. Give me something good. We're getting down to the end of this list. When Things Were Rotten, 1975, 13 episodes. Set in Sherwood Forest, in which Robin Hood, Maid Marian, and Robin's band of merry men fight heroically against their enemies, the nasty Prince John and the Sheriff of Nottingham. I don't even remember that, but again, I was 5 years old when that came out. All right, we get the last That's it. That's our list. Classic stuff there. Mrs. Columbo. Ferris Bueller, the TV show. Really? Did they really have a TV show? I'm sure they did. Bruce Campbell's Jack of All Trades. Also a good one. I wonder if there's a different list. I type in for the 80s. This is the 10 best one-season shows from 1980s. Boone from 83. Code Red from 81. Herbie the Love Bug from 82. Black's Magic. Black's with an E. I would imagine that's got to be the guy's name. It's Alexander Black. Brett Maverick from 81. James Garner. Baby Boom from 88. Call to Glory from 84. It's Your Move from 84. That looks like I think that's a, yeah, Steve from Married with Children is in this, and looks like Jason Bateman. The Duck Factory from 84 with Jim Carrey. Never heard of it. There's Police Squad from 82. There you go. Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Did that go a couple seasons though? Homeboys in Space. Classic. Werewolf better be on there. I didn't see it. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. That was just a great movie. Did they do a show on that? Please no. Nick says, I'm waiting for Mr. Frank to bring up Saved by the Bell, the college years. He did yesterday. If you were on yesterday, he brought that up. The PJs. Wasn't that the cartoon one? So many great shows. Out of every one you listed, I think Police Squad got robbed the most. HR Puff and stuff. Wasn't that a few seasons? Let me see if we got anything listed in the 90s. 10 best one season 90s shows. Sydney, 1990. Was a Valley Bertinelli thing. Hyperion Bay from 98. It looks like it has Zach from the Saved by the Bell in it. .704 Hauser in 94, which is a spinoff of All in the Family. Nothing Sacred from 97. It looks like some kind of church thing. Bakersfield PD from 93. Giancarlo Esposito is in that. LA Doctors from 98. It's like all of these I see, I'm like, these look awful, but I know half the cast in these pictures. Prophet from 96. Maybe they'll do a Police Squad movie, Nick says. Chad says maybe they'll do 2.5 of them. Frank says the Lawrence Welk Show. Michael asked, did Kolchak the Night Stalker run more than one season? Chad believes so. It didn't run as long as we remember. Easy Streets from 96. It was a crime drama that was a victim of timing and distribution. It aired its first season in October, but then went on hiatus until March the following year. That can't be good. Joe Pantoliano, Joey Pants was in that one. My friend Tony Panzica, that's his cousin. Freaks and Geeks from '99, great show. That's the list there. Dresden Files, no, that was a couple 3 seasons. Easy Streets was great. I don't even remember it. Saved by the Bell, the new class. How about the Marty Feldman Comedy Machine? Yeah, that was listed there. Didn't CSI only have 1 season with no spinoffs? Yes, or 1,000 spinoffs. That was LaWanda Order. I knew it was one of those two. Yeah. 10 best from the 2000s. Undeclared, which is the spinoff of Freaks and Geeks. Love that show, which it went more. Thief from 2006. Andre Brager in that one. Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, 2006. That was Chandler. Angels in America, 2003. Al Pacino, Meryl Streep, and Emma Thompson. John Adams, 2008, with Paul Giamatti. Won a bunch of awards, only lasted a season. Red Ryder in 2009. The British crime miniseries. Freaks and Geeks. Generation Kill. 2008. Firefly from 2002. I think I've heard of that one. Band of Brothers from 2001. That's it. But the greatest show ever that only went 1 season, John Doe. Aired on Fox during the 2002-2003 season. Dominic Purcell, William Forsythe. You know, the Napoleon Dynamite spinoff. No Love for Alf. Alf went more than 1 season. We're talking about 1 season shows. Ugh. I wish you had more of that, more than 21 episodes. Breaking news, Robert Duvall has joined Ozzy. He also died? Which video got flagged for salacious content? Probably this one. Probably this one when I'm done. It got, not salacious, shocking content. Several of my videos, shocking content. Look, you can't be serious. Yes, he died. Just seems weird that he would join Ozzy, though, of all people. Only 95 years young. Wow. Ah, Rob. That's what I call him, Rob. "95 years old. Seems so young." Holy crap, with the freaking spam messages. Now I'm even getting it on my phone. Oh, they're going to give me 6 months free if I subscribe through them for Sirius Satellite Radio, which I already have. And if you were Sirius Satellite Radio legit, you would know that. Would you rather he joined James Vanderbeek? You know what? I think they would have a lot to talk about. I don't see that as being a problem. I would rather you said he joined Orson Welles, for instance. I think he would hang out with Orson Welles up there or down there, wherever they're going. Wherever he ends up. Whatever side of that. Tom Hagen, the consigliere. I don't know if that's the way you spell that, but it's definitely the way I understood it. Finally joined Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa ain't dead. Nick, you could not be. That's just a dumb thing to say. That makes no sense. Jimmy Hoffa is alive and well. Or some wells, yeah. Oh my, just constant spam. Constant spam. I got this whole video one about we can make you $40 billion a day on your YouTube channel. All we need to do is just we sign in to your channel. They even sent me a video. We sign into your channel, real simple. You add us as an admin, and then we go in and we basically do all of our SEO blah 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 lies and make this into something truly amazing. And you're going to make billions of dollars, and we only get paid when you get paid, or you get paid and I don't get paid. Frank says, my birthday horror is missing its target audience. Nick said his birthday was Saturday. There you go. All right, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't even had lunch yet. My wife woke up so late and it just crushes me. I'm crushed. I'm crushed, and now I just burped. Thanks everybody for hanging out. A lot of people came and hung out with me today, which is cool. And I'll be on tomorrow. I should be on tomorrow, but only on YouTube Live. So come hang out with me, and then we're going to be regularly scheduled. Definitely be here on Wednesday. For the rest of the week, it'll only be YouTube Live. My goal is to get this every day. Yeah, because even on Thursday, I'm good. All right. Thanks for hanging out. Frank says my birthday was also on a Saturday several times. That's pretty cool. Keith says, cheers, my friend. Thanks for hanging out. Happy Monday to you, Michael. And obviously, everybody hit the subscribe button. And listen, this is what I need you all to do. I need you today to start watching. Pick it's my videos. Pick something. Be like, you know what? I'm going to watch all the live videos in the background on mute. I'm just going to run through all your videos. I'm going to run through anything but the shorts. I'm going to find a playlist. I'm going to run through all of them. That would so help me. So help me God. Frank says, I'll be back to claim last place in the chat again. Hopefully you will. Bye, Nick. Happy Monday to you too, Charlie. Thanks, everybody, for popping in. Watch some of my videos. I need to monetize here. So we can all, you know what? We can all make money.